What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I'm not on a step mill. I just finished the live show, the live recap of OU versus Kansas, 41-3. The Sooners, number 4 Sooners. We'll see what the College Football Playoff Committee has to say when the rankings come out next week. But I want to start off by saying, my goodness, you guys are awesome. You know, you guys supported me live on the Super Chat and in Patreon. You guys are awesome. You know, I was tearing up during the live show because of your generosity, because you donated to keep this channel going, to keep this channel lit, to keep it OU related, college football related, sports related, and I'm here for you, you know, more than ever. I so very much appreciate that. And on my girlfriend's birthday, no less. Today, I want to get into a recap of OU versus Kansas. I want to give you the live look-ins that I had during my Periscopes in between the timeouts and halftime for my real-time interactions where I was probably a little too loud, a little too loose during the game, a little bit too heated, but you know, that's how it is being an OU football fan, being a college football fan. You're going to get a live look at all of that. You're also going to get my take on Baker Mayfield's apology for the now notorious crotch grab and obscenities during the game. If you haven't seen the video, I have a link to it in the description of this video below. I also have a link to the apology that Baker Mayfield gave immediately following the 41-3 win over Kansas, where he was contrite. And I'm also going to tell you what I think that does for his Heisman odds and what I think it does for the national championship picture, along with a few thoughts and observations for Lincoln Riley in his first season getting 10 wins before Thanksgiving. All of that's coming up after the bumper. If this is your first time here, remember to hit that like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always OU football related, college football related, sports related. We have a great time. I hope you join the Sooner Savage gang by ringing the bell. All right, bumper.
Just snap the damn ball, RJ.
Luck is a nice thing, all right? That's what KU got to start the game was luck. Baker nearly threw a pick six to start the game. Rodney Anderson looked like he tried to do something. We had the first down. Mark Andrews pushes off. You're welcome, KU. On the flip side, I would have loved to see them go right down the field, go get these 6. But, you know, we got a lot going on in this game. We could secure a spot in the Big 12 title. Keep your eye on the ball, guys. You know, this could get Lincoln his first 10-win season, tie him with Barry Switzer and Chuck Fairbanks for, you know, most wins in the season. But seriously, Baker, offense, get it together. You know that Mike's not going to have it together. Get it together, all right? None of this 3-and-out stuff. You're giving your gift. Now go run it up. Holy hell, was that a 3-and-out by the defense? Was it? Or it looks deceiving me? All of a sudden they came to play? How about Trey Norwood getting up in Odu's chili, knocking away that pass? I mean, it looked like Kansas quarterback was going to drop a dime right there, and I didn't know if Trey was going to get there, but I was so glad to see Trey get there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and DJ off just coming smoking dudes in the backfield. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Bring the wood. Bring the wood. Baker, what'd you do? I mean, did you see it? Like they had him dead to rights. I saw red shirts closing in on him. Then he shook off a tackler, threw across his body, hit Rodney Anderson. I didn't know that Rodney was going to make it all the way. And then Rodney stretched over the goal line. Like, that's why this team is so amazing. Like that, they were dead in the water on that play. They were dead in the water. Anybody else wouldn't have made that play. But that's why 6 is a savage. That's why 6 is so savage. Look, man, nobody else makes that play. Like I heard them talking about Drew Brees and Russell Wilson. I was thinking Brett Favre. He threw back across his body. That is not a play that you're supposed to make in football, and Baker just made it. And then Rodney Anderson doing the most. 34 yards to the house. That's what I'm talking about. Get more of that. The heck? We got a second straight 3-and-out from the defense. Now, I know it's Kansas, and I know that Kansas couldn't beat Carver Middle School. But still, I like seeing 3-and-outs. I want to see goose eggs, all right? I don't want to see any points scored in this game. None. None from Kansas. 0. 0. You want to prove to me that Mike Stoops is doing something? 0s in this game, all right? Kansas' only win against Southeast Missouri State. That's not an FBS team. No points. 0. Nada. On the other hand, good job, Parnell Motley. Nice to see you got to start again. Nice to see you out there making tackles. That's hey, you sat down last week. You learned. Now you're in the starting lineup. Go earn it, son. Go earn it. So we saw that Kansas gonna Kansas come out there with a direct snap, snap the ball over your running back's head, Taylor Martin's head, and then you get with an illegal formation penalty because you trash, because you garbage. On the flip side, we should be up by like 37 right now at the end of the first quarter. I don't I don't like this play calling so far. I like what Baker's been able to do inside of it, and I like what the defense has been able to do so far. Now, I gotta say, Kansas bailed him out by Kansas being Kansas, because it looked like Kansas was gonna score 6, especially after that bogus penalty that I thought happened. I thought he got a pass interference, but, you know, that's just me. On the flip side, what are we gonna turn it up? Are we gonna turn up in the second quarter? Is that what's gonna happen? Because that's what needs to happen. We gotta turn up. Otherwise, all we're going to be doing is talking about how Kansas wouldn't shake Baker Mayfield's hand. Why would you do that? Why would you just... Look, you got everything to play for. This is your bowl game. Kansas, you don't have anything else to play for. Your season's over. It's done. All right? You're trash. But you didn't have to be trash in your sportsmanship to start the game. You could have made the game about football. Instead, we're going to be talking about your handshake. I've been saying it. Fire Mike Stoops. Why are we giving up touchdowns to Kansas? And what is it with the boys looking so sluggish? We got stuff to play for in this game, fellas. You win this game, we don't have to worry about anything else until Big 12 title game. We're in. Neither TCU or Oklahoma State could come and kick us out. We be in. I don't understand. I don't get it. What are we doing here? On offense and defense. Safe 6 being a savage. Ain't anything else that we've been doing. I mean, Trey Norwood, I take that back. Trey Norwood is out there having a game. Parnell Motley's wrapping up. But why are we giving up these games to Kansas? Kansas is trash. Get it together, fellas. Get it together in a hurry, too. I don't often question Lincoln Riley's play calling, but right now, I'm beginning to question Lincoln Riley's play calling, all right? You called a play that essentially was a QB run for Baker Mayfield. Now, I get you wanting to run the football. I mean, you're giving the ball to Rodney 9 times already, but calling a play that could get the eventual Heisman Trophy winner hurt, I don't see how that helps us in any way. Also, I get everybody's talking about the wind. Yes, it's windy. Wind blows. That's what wind does. But you know what? Kansas is daring you to dump it 30 yards downfield. And we got to wait till third down and throw the ball. And even then, Sixto Savage just didn't make a play that he usually makes. You know, and in the first half, Mark Andrews has not looked like himself. Matter of fact, nobody's looked like themselves. I mean, save the magician play, which was awesome. The offense hadn't looked great, man. You know, like, I don't understand. This thing where we're playing down to our competition again. We did it against Iowa State. You remember that? Remember how that went? You know, we did it against Baylor. Remember how that went? Had to pull one out late? Man, we got to pull this one out. We got to pull it together. We got to pull it together in a hurry. Because I expected to see a lot of Kyler Murray in the second half. And right now, we're not playing like we're going to see any Kyler Murray. Get it together, offense. Get it together, defense. I'm tired of Kansas believing that they could be in this game. You know? Get out of here. All right. Somebody tell me what is going on. What did they drink something bad before the game? Did they eat something bad before the game? Hollywood dropped a pass that Hollywood catches. I understand it's a tough pass to catch, but look, man, it was there for him to take it. You know, we're playing conservative football against a team we should be running it up against. You know, and then on defense, Mike, man, with the 3-man fronts and the 7-yard cushions and the oboe dropping into coverage. Come on, man, this game should be over. This should be a wrap. I don't understand. Get it together. Like, I'm really on alert now. I'm for real having to watch this game like a football game instead of a scrimmage. That's what it should be. It should be a scrimmage. You know, we're trying to play for a national championship this year. We are a shoo-in for the Big 12 title game if we win. And all of a sudden, we acting like this ain't for real. It's 7-3 to Kansas. Kansas! Look, man, it's 21-3. I understand. We got the late score with 10 seconds left to go from Hollywood, who cut back against the grain, did what Hollywood does, all 110 pounds of him. I'm still upset. I'm still not happy about this, all right? 21-3 should not be what we're after here. We should be up 42-3. This is not a good football team. And Kansas acting like they're a good football team doesn't make them a good football team. All right? Late? Yes, there was a spark late. But another thing we need to talk about is how these officials missed this targeting call. Some dude named Defense launched his shoulder into my man. Drilled him in the face and in the head. What? How do we not eject this man? How does this just a personal foul call? Come on, man. They decided that they were going to play rough at the start of the game. Does anybody else remember that? When they wouldn't shake my man, they wouldn't shake Baker's hand. That's a telegraph to the refs. Look, they don't want to play this game straight up. They want to play prison rules. So you need to be ready with your flag. You know? I don't, man, look. Look, Mark Andrews is not having the kind of game that Mark Andrews is used to having. Okay? Rodney Anderson is being the workhorse when really I think we should give Abdul Adams a chance, Gabe Sermon a chance. Look, let the man spell out just a little bit. But I don't buy this part with Luganbill talking about Kansas is playing outstanding defensive secondary just because Baker's patting the ball. Baker patting the ball doesn't mean squat. Alright? Baker patting the ball means that he's just going from read to read. What I want to know is why the referee is not doing their job. But, look, the referees wouldn't have to do their job if we already put this game out of reach. Like, give that some thought for just a second. For the first quarter and a half, the boys looked like they won the game because the bus arrived at the stadium. And apparently Lincoln worked them hard this week, but they ain't working hard enough because we showed up like we got the game won already. And we should be. But we should be because we be playing like the #1 team in the country. Instead of giving the College Football Playoff Committee more fodder to try to drop us in the rankings this week. Look, they're going to try to tell us that Miami did something when they almost lost to Virginia, right? And then because we don't beat by Kansas by 50, we're not going to move ahead of Miami. Like, I don't want to give anybody any more fodder. None. Zero. Trash. Get out of here with giving them reasons to doubt us. I mean, I know if we win out, we're in. But I don't want to just win out. I want to dominate. I want to destroy teams. I want everybody afraid to play Oklahoma instead of thinking maybe you could be in the game because Kansas is in the game. 21-3 is not good enough. At this rate, Baker's playing in the second half. I didn't want Baker to play in the second half. Matter of fact, I was on board with Baker not going to Kansas. Look, save the man. We're going to need him late. We shouldn't need Baker Mayfield to beat Kansas. We should. Why? Why is this game close? And Mike, man, again with the 3-man fronts. Did we learn something? 3-man fronts, 9-yard cushions on 3rd and 5. What are we doing? The good news is the young kids are playing well. Parnell Motley's playing well. Trey Norwood is playing well. Emmanuel Beal got his first interception of his entire career, and he's a senior. Devontae Lampkin is flying off the ball. Big man moving. We're playing well. As individually, we're not playing well as a team. I needed to change. I needed to change in a hurry. All right? I want this game out of reach before the end of the third quarter so you can sit So Savage down and then get back to talking noise to Kansas fans. You have one win. Stick to basketball. Man, oh my goodness. Like, what? Baker Mayfield stays throwing shade. And I love it. But I want him to just throw shade. I don't want to have to play in this game anymore. I don't want him taking any more unnecessary hits like he did from the KU corner who decided that he was going to take a cheap shot at the eventual Heisman Trophy winner. I want him safe. I want him safe because this game, in the scheme of things, means diddly squat. It means a conference win. It means a conference win. It gets us to double-digit wins on the season, and I love all of that. That's good news. But this is a trash team. This coaching staff is going to get fired. The players know that this is their bowl game, and they're very upset about it. And now they're looking to take it out on the best player in college football by cheap-shotting him. I don't want to see any more of that. All right? I want this done and over with. Put it to bed in the second half, boys. Put it to bed in the second half. Let's move on to talking about Kyler Murray and what the second string looks like. Gave up the bomb to start the series. All right. Then regroup. And, Kansas is going to Kansas, so they missed the field goal. Sims, I think it was. Is that his name? I don't know. It's Kansas. From getting 6. And that's what I want to see more of, right? I want to see more of that kind of defense. And when Mike all of a sudden put 4 on the line of scrimmage, all of a sudden, we can play defense again. You could rush this dude Stanley all of a sudden, and he would get rid of the ball. 4 down linemen. Is it so hard? Is it so hard to put 4 down linemen on the field? Is it really? I don't think it is, dog. I really don't think it is. Run a 4-2-5, right? You got the linebackers to do it. Kenneth Murray's having a game. Emmanuel Beal has a pick. Caleb Kelly is your best athlete at linebackers outside of Obo. Like, what do you want, man? Come on. Look, your corners are playing lights out. Stephen Parker's having a great game. Will Johnson has not gotten into trouble. All of those dudes deserve props today. On the flip side, it's still 21-3, right? And you got David Beatty talking about, like, it was 7-3 for most of the first half. And you know what? He's not wrong. My God. Kansas was in this football game, and you know what? They're still in it. There's still 3 scores in it. It should be 7 scores. All right? This game should be 56-3 right now. All right, offense. Start taking care of something. Go do something. All right? I want some bombs. I want Mark Andrews to go back to being Mark Andrews. I want to see some more Jeff Badette. I I want to see more Hollywood Brown. I want to see a little Abdul Adams, and I want to see a lot of Rodney Anderson. 6-0 Savage. Come on, man. Go get this 6. Go get this W. Go put this out of reach. I don't want you playing in the fourth quarter. Let's go. Now, it's official. Kansas never wanted to play by football rules. Didn't want to play by Queensbury rules. Just wanted to play prison rules. We saw it with the lack of wanting to shake the eventual Heisman Trophy winner's hand. We saw it with the cheap shot Hassan Defense took at Baker, right, at the end of that play where he launched into Baker, nearly tried to dislocate my man's shoulder, and we saw it again with the Kansas defensive lineman who refused to get up off of my man Baker, and Bobby Evans took matters into his own hands and said, get off my quarterback. Look, man, I get it. Y'all don't like it. Y'all don't like it. I get it. But you ain't got to play by prison rules unless you really do want to play by prison rules, in which case, man, Baker's having to hold him back. You know what? Forget it. Play prison rules. Play prison rules with the boys from the University of Oklahoma. See what happens. I've seen tweets about OU lacking killer instinct. No, it's not. They're trying to show restraint. They're trying to play with class. And Kansas just don't want to do that. Kansas wants to play prison rules. It's not just one to muck up the game. It's one to turn the game into a scrimmage on necessary roughness, where you got the dudes from the Texas Penal League coming in to try to mollywop you. But we ain't gonna have none of that. Now it's personal. Like Kid Ink, now it's personal. At the end, well, we're at the end of the third quarter, but in the middle of the third quarter, you might have noticed that Dave Pasch and Greg McElroy, the ESPN broadcaster, started to go to work on 6-0 Savage. And they went to work on 6-0 Savage, as you can check on my Twitter feed, where I took video of the incident where Baker Mayfield grabbed his junk and then threw some profanity across the sideline to Kansas fans. Now, I get everybody's sides of this, right? Dave Pasch goes to work because he called it a classless act. But they didn't go, they've been talking about this for almost a full quarter. Didn't give so much thought to what the Kansas fans were doing, or not Kansas fans, well, what Kansas fans were doing, but also what the Kansas players did at the start of the game when they went to shake his hand. You want to talk about class? Let's start there. Let's start with who did what first. Now, and we can live in this world where we talk about the blind and, eye for an eye and walk around blindless. But at the end of the game, look, passionate players make passionate gestures, as you will. And after what Baker Mayfield had been put through for most of this game, they wouldn't shake his hand, number one. Right? You have the targeting hit where it should have been ejection that the man tried to take him out. Right? The Hassan defense hit. You had the defensive lineman who laid on top of him. On top of him. And then Bobby Evans said, that's my quarterback. Get off my quarterback. They're playing prison rules out there. And you're surprised that a guy like Baker Mayfield took it so hard? You're surprised that he wouldn't have had something to say about that? And now you're talking about how it's going to affect his draft stock? Look, they've been looking for a reason to try to take the Heisman Trophy from Baker Mayfield when it was his at the beginning of the month. And you know what? It's still his. Because there's not a better player in college football. You can talk about him being polarizing. You can talk about the inept and incorrect and aggravating talk of him being like Johnny Manziel. But at the end of the day, a kid made a passionate gesture that he probably wouldn't have wanted to throw the profanity across the field. Let's be real about that. But the grabbing his codpiece, man, however you come down on that is how you come down on that. To me, it's not a personal foul. It's a gesture. He'll get a talking to from his head coach because at the University of Oklahoma, we want to have a particular sort of image because that's going to be hard to defend in the award shows and what so forth and so on. But at the end of the day, what harm did he do? What harm did he really do? And we're still talking about this, obviously. But if you want to see it, check out my Twitter. We'll talk about it in the post-game show live on YouTube immediately following this game that the Sooners have well in hand. Now, it's not the blowout that I wanted. And that's the other thing. This is gonna hijack any game, right? It's gonna hijack any play that we've had. It's gonna hijack any of this stuff. So now, Pasch and McElroy are again just trying to talk about what OU is going to be ranked and whether or not, you should take a look at what OU is going to do or could be doing or what Baker Mayfield's resume has been and how he's the most accurate quarterback in college football and making the Drew Brees throws and the Tom Brady throws and, the Sugar Hill Gang throws. Look, the problem I have with this entire broadcast is it's not that they went hard on Baker Mayfield, believe it or not. I could get that. What I don't get is how you talk 10, 15 times longer about Baker Mayfield grabbing his junk more or less hurting himself if he hurt anybody, hurting Oklahoma if he hurt anybody. But you don't talk about how Hassan Defense nearly took my man out for the rest of college football. You know, nearly concussed the best player in college football and would have significantly changed the way that OU football is viewed going forward, you know, playing against West Virginia heading in the Big 12 title game if he had a concussion, if he had been hurt. That's my real issue here. Look, I want balance. That's what I want. I want balance. I don't care that you want to talk noise about Baker Mayfield grabbing his crotch, especially coming from my man Greg McElroy, who did all of nothing. He didn't do anything at Alabama. He was carried at Alabama, you know, and I get Dave Pasch, who I normally like, by the way, as a play-by-play guy. But look, it's lopsided. They've been looking for a reason to go after Baker Mayfield, and they got one. But then again, that doesn't change anything than what has been going on to Baker Mayfield all year. From the moment he planted the flag, to the moment he said, Baker, who's your daddy? To the moment that he said, you know, we're expected to beat Oklahoma State because this is Oklahoma. You know, to what he said about Sam Ehlinger and how, you know, he'd never beaten his high school football team. Look, it's Baker. He's having a good time. You know, this is also the same guy who had enough character to block Mia Khalifa on Twitter. Everybody else would have been going after Mia Khalifa. Johnny Manziel would have been like, where's the party at? But we don't talk about that. We want to talk about my man when he threw an obscenity, which I wouldn't have wanted to see him throw, right? I work very hard myself. I'm a very profane individual mostly. But on YouTube and on Periscope and on Twitter, I really work hard to try to curtail my language because I know how it reflects on me, it reflects on my family, it reflects on my team. I get that. What I don't get is when a violent act, an assault is made on a defenseless player in Baker Mayfield, and you have little to nothing to say about that until Baker Mayfield does something that offends your senses and wants to call him classless. Never mind that OU's up 31-3 over Kansas. Never mind that it's going to be a 10-win season, that it's going to be Lincoln Riley's, in his first season, he's going to win 10 games, which ties him with Chuck Fairbanks and Barry Switzer for most wins in his first season. And you know what? He's going to break it against West Virginia Big 12 championship and then have another opportunity in the college football playoff. Never mind that Baker Mayfield just threw the 37 straight TD in Big 12 play. Like, I don't understand why we're not, I mean, the man is making history. OU's offense is making history. The University of Oklahoma football team is making history during this game. And we're talking about Baker Mayfield's giblets. So if you watch the apology, you know that Baker Mayfield was sincere when he said, I did not lead by example out there today. He didn't want to take away from a huge win over Kansas where the defense played spectacularly well, considering that it's Mike Stoops, who's the defensive coordinator, had a lot of great things that happened on the defensive side of the ball. Emmanuel Bill with his first interception of his career. The freshman played well. Trey Norwood looked great. Trey Brown, when he got on the field, looked great. Parnell Motley had a game. Stephen Parker was the linchpin in the secondary. The defensive line looked great. DJ Ward was blowing folks up. Obo didn't get exposed when he was dropping back in the coverage. Devontae Lampkin had another amazing game at nose tackle. But it's going to be overshadowed by Baker Mayfield grabbing his junk. Now, I got a problem with that for a lot of reasons that I've already talked about in this video, but I think that it's going to reflect poorly on OU for the next couple of weeks until we get in the Big 12 title game, when people will probably forget about it when we eventually, hopefully, likely win a Big 12 championship. But it'll be one of those things that continues to do this inaccurate and aggravating comparison of Baker Mayfield to Johnny Manziel. It's crazy. It irks me to no end. But it's going to happen. So gird your loins for it. Be prepared for OU haters to tell you about what Baker Mayfield did in the Kansas game. And remember that it was the Kansas players who started it by not shaking his hand. I mean, how good is that for sportsmanship? You don't want to shake the guy's hand at the start of the game? What kind of statement does that make? You playing prison rules? That's what you're doing. You're not being gracious. You're not being a good host. This game was in Lawrence. You know, this is the eventual Heisman Trophy winner. What do you have to gain by not shaking his hand? What kind of statement is that making for a one-win team whose only win came against an FCS opponent? Never mind the cheap shot that Hassan Defense took at Baker that could have hurt him, that could have taken him out of the game forever. Like, that's not exaggeration. Concussions are real. Ask Kenny Hill if he traveled to the Texas Tech game. It could have had long-term implications on his ability to play football, and all he got was a personal foul for it. Never mind the defensive lineman who was laying on top of Baker, and Bobby Evans came to his rescue to push him off, and Bobby Evans picks up a foul. Yes, Baker Mayfield said, you have one win, stick to basketball, which is good advice. It's just true. But that's not what voters are going to remember. That's not what the college football playoff is not going to take into account. We know how they feel about OU. We know that this is how they feel about OU when they rank Clemson above Oklahoma with a loss to Syracuse. So, seriously, we know that we're on our own. We know it's us against them. That's not new. But they're not going to be able to take the Heisman Trophy for a crotch grab. Not going to happen. You know, they're not gonna take the Heisman Trophy for some foul language that he has already apologized for, and which Lincoln has been on record saying he will punish Baker for. When we don't know what that'll look like. Hopefully it's handled in-house and we see Baker play the rest of the season. That's what I think is gonna happen. That's what I hope will happen. But, you know, we'll be here to talk about it later in the week. Live show on Wednesday, live show immediately following the game on Saturday. If you like the videos, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow. Deuces.